1976 in the United Kingdom was marked by various events. The country experienced a heat wave, with temperatures reaching record highs and causing droughts. This led to water shortages and the implementation of conservation measures. The economy faced challenges, including high inflation and a decline in industrial production. The government introduced austerity measures to address these issues. In politics, the Labour Party faced internal conflicts, resulting in the resignation of Prime Minister Harold Wilson. He was succeeded by James Callaghan. The UK also witnessed significant cultural events, such as the release of the first punk rock singles and the opening of the Barbican Centre in London. Additionally, the country celebrated the bicentenary of the United States Declaration of Independence with various events and exhibitions.
In 1976, I was 26. So to be honest, actually, you didn't think too much about the heat. What you did like about it was that when the weekend came, you knew you could go off down to the seaside or down to the parks.
Every summer, from when I was very young, we used to go on holiday to Cornwall. Even though it's 42 years ago, I very much remember the fact that every day was clear blue sky and quite hot.
I mean, in those days, I would be out on the burnt patch of grass in the centre of London, which is where I was living. You wouldn't dream of putting suntan lotion on, because that was something you did if you went abroad, certainly not in Britain, and you'd burn yourself to bits, probably.
I'd become a very keen surfer. The problem with hot weather, high pressure systems like we have now at the moment stuck over the country, you don't get any movement in the ocean, so the sea was like a mill pond for absolutely weeks and weeks on end. During my time at work in '76 and right into the '80s and that, everybody worked in suits. And if you'd walked in during this kind of heat, you would walk in absolutely dripping. I remember, you know, if you walked around London in shorts back in 40 years ago, people looked at you like you were strange.
You couldn't really dress for the heat because, you know, walking about in a bikini in the centre of London certainly was not an acceptable way of going about things.
When you got into the office, you sat down in your air-conditioned office, and the only thing, if you were lucky, you had a window nearby, you could open that.
Very few places had air conditioning, so those that did actually advertised it as something that might attract people in. People were flocking to the cinema, they were flocking to any restaurant that had air conditioning. What
you hear now is how long it's going to go on for. Back in 1976, you only knew about today and probably the next day, but now we know it's going to drag on for 2 weeks. So psychologically, you're gearing yourself up. Back in 1976, you thought, well, you know, okay, it's just going to be another day, or the weekend comes and it's going to disappear altogether. Hopefully not. Now
I would say, don't worry about the grass, it will grow back. We will be nice and green again. And I say, don't do what I did. Obviously, stay out of the sun, put suntan lotion on, and keep well.
Share and subscribe.